What's going on, everyone? Jeremy here from The Quartering, and this is basically a public service announcement to everybody that probably already knew this, but a new report now proves that the United States government is using push notifications. Let me just brighten up a little bit here because, we do this real time on the fly, and I'm a total professional. There we go. Change the camera a little bit. Okay. The government has been tracking you through push notifications and it looks like on both Apple and Android phones. This is, it's just like on the next level of the, I was talking about Cancun, and now I'm getting all these weird ads about Cancun. What a coincidence. Whoa, what's going on with my pitch? I don't know what's going on there. The coincidence, it's always like, oh, my phone's, listening to me is what most people think. Well, let's take a look at this new report from a U.S. Senator after, a very timely reminder. If you don't have a VPN, I've got a massive discount on private internet access. Check this out. Huge shout out to this video sponsor, Private Internet Access. Look, in current year, everyone basically has to have a VPN. It's a extremely versatile and now basically required tool of browsing the modern internet. And that's why I'm happy to be partnered with Private Internet Access and have been for over a year now. It's a VPN I use, it's a VPN I recommend to my friends and family, and I have a massive discount for my viewers. In short, a VPN allows you to change the location that you may be seen as browsing the internet from. This helps you unlock television shows and movies that might not be available in your area. It allows you to browse the internet anonymously. Heck, even right now, we just saw several countries, for example, Google and Meta are now blocking news in Canada. And, how are you going to get your news? Well, you could change your location. VPN helps protect your privacy, secure your data, and bypass network blocks. It comes in extremely important all the time. That's why I have it on my computers, laptops, and mobile phones. Private Internet Access is an open source app with no usage logs, unlimited bandwidth, high-speed global server network, dedicated apps, powerful encryption, and 24/7 live support. Unlock the power of the internet and stay censorship-free by using my link in the description below and get yourself. If you don't have VPN and you want to protect your data and your anonymity, there's a great start for you. And by the way, it runs on your phone too. It's what I use. U.S. Senator has reportedly discovered the United States government was tracking users through push notifications on their phones. Press the like button if you're totally not surprised by this. A U.S. Senator says multiple governments are tracking you through push notifications. U.S. Senator Ron Wyden has discovered through a tip that the United States government and other foreign governments are spying on phone users. It isn't done directly on the device. However, instead, both Apple and Google have developers send the information to a server, which then sends out a push notification to the phone. This is used by almost every single developer who has an app that allows for push notifications. The idea is that these notifications can reveal the location data, among other things. Any foreign government also using this data are assumed to be allied with the U.S. However, after a year of investigation, Wyden's team has also discovered something much worse. The information has been withheld due to a gag order placed on Apple and Google by the United States government. In a letter to the Department of Justice, Wyden now wants Google and Apple to be able to discuss this information publicly. And quite frankly, I think most of us would agree. This is not dissimilar. I mean, we've talked about high-level CIA agents, FBI agents, all working at Facebook, Instagram, YouTube. I mean, I'm not making this up. You can look at their LinkedIn pages and see how many former CIA agents have positions at the company, how many Homeland Security people have positions at the company. Facebook, look at Twitter 1.0. Even after Elon bought it, there were more and more discoveries of these government stooges that were still working. Now maybe they left the CIA for the quiet life to go work in Silicon Valley, but I happen to not have been born yesterday. These companies should be permitted to generally reveal whether they have been compelled to facilitate this surveillance practice, to publish aggregate statistics about the number of demands they receive. I agree. And unless temporarily gagged by a court, to notify specific customers about the demands for their data. Certainly, if the government has requested my data and Apple has provided it, which, of all the big tech companies, to be honest, Apple has done the best job protecting user data and declining these requests. Unlike Liberty Safe, if we remember that, stuff like that. But, I feel like anytime. Now, first of all, the first thing I did when I read this is I disabled all push notifications from my phone. Now, if this like back-end government access, can still push it through, well, then I don't know what to do. I've been talking about it for years about these smartphones. Allow me to be a little bit of a kook here. But it's, when you're using a smartphone, you're trading your privacy. There is no two ways about it. Yes, you can use a VPN to add some layers of security, and I think everyone should do that if you're going to use a smartphone. But ultimately, the government can track it. By sending text messages, push notifications, it can triangulate your position, all this kind of stuff. If they use it to track, an active, monster, something like that, I think most people are like, okay, fine. But I think it's safe to say that most of us don't believe that's the only time they use it, based on how we've seen, the FBI's Elvis Chan from their San Francisco office interacting with regular everyday Twitter users who had like 3 followers and getting them banned off the platform. This says, since the letter was made public, Apple has come forward with a statement. As reported by Reuters, an Apple spokesman said, quote, "In this case, the federal government prohibited us from sharing any information." Gee, I wonder why there's only 2 cell phone companies, folks. Now that this method has become public, we are updating our transparency reporting to detail these kinds of requests. Google has also stated something similar, with the same report adding that the search engine giant is committed to keeping their users informed about these requests. Well, how in the heck would we even find this out? How would I know if the government is, requesting my data from Android or from Google or from Apple or from, it's what do I have to go to some obscure website, .com.net.org/whatever and dig through the raw data to find it out? I would think legally that the United States government and these tech corporations should be required to tell the individual user, probably even within seconds of the government, of fulfilling a government request for their data. I don't even understand how, I do understand because we live in a clown world. It is yet to be seen whether the Department of Justice will allow the gag order to be released. They won't, but it is probably a long road from here. It's not often you find legitimate news being first heard on TikTok. It's also weird. It's also doubly weird that it didn't come from a SpongeBob fish. Yeah, I mean, I think, ultimately, you look at some more high-level reporting. If you look at Reuters, government spying on Apple, Google users through push notifications. Now, I suspect, I know there are far more tech-savvy individuals that watch my videos, so you let me know in the comments if I'm incorrect. But what I'm guessing is they could probably send out a push notification whenever they want to figure out various data. Let's say they were hunting a criminal. Okay, let's see the best case scenario. Some guy's on some sort of crime spree or crime rampage, and they use some backdoor access to push a DoorDash notification to their phone. And you're like, oh, DoorDash, well, I'm too busy committing a bunch of crimes right now, so I probably don't care or notice. Meanwhile, that push notification sends back to the government exactly where you are, and all sorts of other information. I suspect that's how it's done. Now, apps of all kinds rely on push notifications to alert smartphone users of incoming messages, breaking news, and other updates. These are audible dings or visual indicators that you get when you receive an email or the sports team wins a game. What users often do not realize is that it's almost all such notifications travel over Google and Apple servers. That gives the 2 companies unique insight into the traffic flowing from those apps to the users, and in turn puts them in a unique position to facilitate government surveillance of how users are using particular apps. Wyden asked the Department of Justice to repeal or modify the policies that hindered public discussion of push notification spying. In a statement, Apple said that Wyden's letter gave them an opening they needed to share more data. Well, sure, but what? You know, Wyann's letter cited a tip as a source of the information about the surveillance. The staff did not elaborate on where it came from, but a source familiar with the matter confirmed that both foreign and U.S. government agencies have been asking Apple and Google for metadata related to push notifications. For example, to help tie anonymous users of messaging apps to specific Apple or Google accounts. This is Signal, WhatsApp, other end-to-end encrypted apps. And it's an end around, right? So Signal won't break their promise to their customers and out them to the government, but the government can just do an end around and say, oh, it's on, John Doe's phone from San Bernardino. And, Signal didn't tell us, but we got the messages, we got the username, we figured out where it was phone, and then technically Signal didn't break it. The source said they don't know how long such information has been gathered in that way. Most users give push notifications little thought, but they occasionally attracted attention from technologists of the difficulty of deploying them without sending data to Google or Apple. Earlier this year, French developer David Lebeau said users and developers were often unaware of how their apps emitted data to the US tech giants via push notifications, calling them a privacy nightmare. Well, it certainly sounds like that nightmare has come true. I would make sure to get your VPN installed on your phone for sure. And also, I guess, understand that in general, when you're using a smartphone, to be extremely careful. I hope you were informed by this video. I hope you share it with those around you that may use push notifications on smartphones, which is just about everybody. We'll talk to you again real soon.